Welcome to the next part in the Rick and Morty app series. In the last video, we hooked up these options in settings, and in this video, we're going to hook up the last one that remained, which is the rate app option here. So drop a like before we start, say hello in the comments. It actually really helps with engagement, and let's continue. So one thing that I thought about before doing this video is maybe I should look up the actual API to do this because I don't remember. But then I figured, well, Googling is an important skill, so it might be helpful if I just did it in the video. I also want to always, I always try to do my best to not make it look easier than it actually is and nobody remembers every single API. So I want these videos to be realistic. I vaguely remember that the functionality resides in, I believe, StoreKit to prompt the app rating from the user. So we're going to go ahead and import that, and we'll jump to Google, and I'm going to search basically Apple Developer Prompt App Rating StoreKit. Hopefully those are good enough keywords to get this to show up. So cool. First link here. Looks like we got some demo code. All right, I can see if I can actually cheat and copy and paste this. So what this is doing is if the App Store, if the count doesn't return, so what they're doing is, after a certain number of counts, what it wants to do is basically prompt the user for a rating. So they're saying after 6 times on the main thread, do a task where basically let's see what you try to do. SK review controller, you want to try to request a review. So let's see how we can actually do that. I'm going to actually steal this entire task here, and we're going to toss it into our function and see what actually happens, and we'll modify this code accordingly. So we're going to toss this here. I'm going to Control I. So delay for 2 seconds from interrupting the person using the app. Do we want to do that? I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to remove this. We don't want to do this sleep thing here. The next thing we're doing is we're getting the Windows scene. Okay, that makes sense. Then it's getting the navigation controller's topmost controller, and it's casting that. It's saying if it's the process controller, we actually don't need that either. I can actually just get rid of that. And let's see what it's doing. It's saying there is a SK for StoreKit, review view controller, request review in Windows scene, and then it's updating some user default value. Basically, have we requested a user review already? And actually, we don't need to do that either. So let's see what we need to do. Let's see why we actually need to wrap this even in a task. I want to say I'm able to just get away with using this code here. Let's do that and try to build, and let's see why it yells at me. So it is in fact yelling at me. It's saying that self is not optional, which makes sense. We actually don't even need this. So we're saying from the view, the current view, get its window and get the window scene, and then pass it to the review controller, which we're saying request a review in the current window scene. So let's go ahead and give this a run. And I'm going to click on the app rating as soon as our app decides to not take forever to launch. And let's click this. And let's see, I don't see anything. Okay, now we actually got it to pop up. I'm just super impatient, I guess. So awesome. So we actually do get this to pop up. One important thing that I want to call out is if I actually say not now and tap this again, in production, what Apple states is that this won't actually show up every single time. So you sometimes want a fallback case where, let's say you've already showed this once, maybe you keep track of that in some sort of local user cache. In the other case, you can just open up the App Store. So cool, we've got the rate app prompt actually showing up, and if a user actually rates this and sends it off to the App Store, which we can't do on a simulator, and also because our app isn't published, you'll submit that rating successfully. So super simple to do. Hopefully that's a little tutorial in Googling. Certainly no one remembers every single function. Even though I made a video on this prior, I certainly don't. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next part. This one's a brief video. Drop a like before clicking away, and I'll meet you guys over there.